Fear. It's one of humanity's oldest emotions, and horror has always been the mirror that reflects it. Once upon a time, horror came draped in shadows, fog, and the unknown. Vampires were smooth, and zombies, well, they used to be slow. But horror doesn't stand still. As our fears evolve, so do the monsters that we create. Today's creatures are faster, they're meaner, and sometimes even more human than we'd like to admit. In this video, we're sinking our teeth into the evolution of horror by looking at its most iconic monsters, vampires and zombies. From their vintage roots to their modern-day nightmares, we'll explore how each of them has transformed to keep us sleeping with the lights on. Because horror never dies, it just changes shape. First up is zombies. I'll be comparing the 1968 film Night of the Living Dead with the 2010 to 2022 series The Walking Dead. While Night of the Living Dead ushered in a modern zombie horror with its groundbreaking gore and terror, The Walking Dead shifts the focus away from the monsters and towards the deeper disintegration of human society. It shows us how horror has evolved from external fear to internal collapse. Overall, for zombies, we'll be looking at the establishing of mood and story and the base conflict in both stories. Based off of the movie covers, you can see that Night of the Living Dead presents a scare filled with zombies. It shows how zombies are the point and main force for the movie. But when you look at The Walking Dead's beginning cover display, you see one man, which we know as our protagonist Rick Grimes, and there's not really any zombies in sight, but every physical piece of society is in ruin, like cars in the city, and there's only one present man and a barren highway, which is something that we know as a society would always be filled with people in cars. Both Night of the Living Dead and The Walking Dead have scenes that establish the feel for the story, and although they are both of the zombie genre, they are different in ways that are established, because they aren't storylines that prioritize two different things. Roll the clip.
They're coming for you. Look, there comes one of them now.
He'll hear you.
Here he comes now. I'm getting out of here.
John!
This clip shows that in this piece of media, the main danger is the zombie, the monotonous creature playing eerie music and making it so that they're already attacked and barely escaping with her life. This tells the person watching that the problem being presented is the zombie, clearly. Next is The Walking Dead and that establishing scene. Roll the clip.
Little girl? I'm a policeman. Little girl. Don't be afraid, okay? Little girl?
In this clip, what we see is a little different. For example, there's not really any scary music changing the tone of the scene. Also, different from Night of the Living Dead is that we're introduced to a zombie girl who shows certain items that essentially humanize the little girls and other zombies. This makes them appear less monstrous and more people who are tragically changed into monsters. Also, in this episode, we are shown that he kills the girl, changing the level of threat they pose. In Night of the Living Dead, the whole movie works on the idea that zombies are this serious high-level threat, as she and the man could barely escape from one. Granted, Rick does have a gun in The Walking Dead, but it's all part of this idea of setting the scene. While in Night of the Living Dead, she searches for a safe sanctuary from this threat, Rick Grimes is searching for his family. And although zombies do pose a certain obstacle, his conflict is more internal. Next up in our old horror versus new horror comparison, we are going to be looking at vampires. More specifically, the 2009 series Vampire Diaries and the 1922 horror movie Nosferatu. Again, as the show and movie posters are shown, you can see how the Nosferatu poster presents a silhouette of a weird-looking creature, which we can assume is the vampire Nosferatu, while the Vampire Diaries series poster has three normal or human-looking people where you can't really tell if they were vampires or playing more into the blur modern horror creates between human and monster. Onto the clip. This interaction is one of the first had with the vampire. The man clearly feels odd, and the scene gives the idea of him being unsettled, oblivious to the fact that he's looking at a vampire, and moves along. Next is a clip from the Vampire Diaries of Stefan and Elena's first meeting.
Pardon me. Is this the men's room?
Yes, I was just... It's a long story. Thank you.
That scene was very different from the earlier one. It had a lot of romantic tension. The kind of tension where someone wants something even if it doesn't make any sense, which has become a common theme with vampires and horror stories. Also, as you probably noticed, the two scenes take place in very different settings, one in a large, creepy old castle and the other in a high school, a place often linked with personal change and emotional struggles more internal than external. Overall, when we compare old and new horror, we see that modern horror is more connected to society, with people's inner struggles, something everyone can relate to on some scary level that no one really wants to admit. While older horror, still scary, had less depth. But still, those older films are important. They laid the groundwork for everything related to horror that we know and love today. And it wouldn't have been possible without that.